Okay, my name is Opetunde and I'm a data science student. I'm also a student of Lautech. Any Lautech here? Good. So I'm a student of Lautech and I'm studying medical physiology. Usually I get questions like, how does data science relate to medical physiology? But that's not even the point here. So I just want to show you how data science is solving life-threatening problems in Africa. You'd agree with me that Africa has quite a lot of problems. You know, sometimes if you're like me and you go online to check some of the problems that we have in Africa, you get so tired. And you know, sometimes I take it as my job to check some of the problems that Africa has and to find possible solutions to it, which is one of the reasons why I even became a data science student in the first place. I wanted to find a way to solve some of the issues that we have in Africa, some of the problems that we have in Africa. And gladly, I was able to see that data science has a good, what am I going to call it now? Data science can help to solve some of these issues that we have in Africa, and that is what I want to show you today. So when I think of Africa's problem, this is always my reaction sometimes. You know, I get very frustrated because it's not like we are not, we don't have the resources in Africa. It's not like we are poor in Africa. Africa is rich, like the first speaker said, Africa is rich in resources and a lot of things. But why is it that we are still in problems? Why is it that Africa is still where it is today? And today, I don't want to talk about the problems. I want to talk about how data science can help reduce some of the issues that we have, some of the problems that we have in Africa today. These are some of the problems that data science and some data projects are solving in Africa. Now, did you see that corruption costs Africa $68 billion every year? That's what the World Bank said. And did you also see that in South Africa alone, agricultural products wastage costs South Africa alone $2.7 billion every year? That is too much for a country that cannot even feed its population. It is just so much. And you see tuberculosis. According to a research by IBM, about 80% of South Africans have tuberculosis. So this is a huge problem that we have in Africa. You also see road infrastructure problems. We all know that in Lagos, for example, you can spend hours in traffic. It's because we don't have many road networks. If we can build many road networks, some of these problems will not be in place. So and you can see post-election value. So I'm going to talk about how some projects are using data to solve some of these issues in Africa today. But before I go into my talk majorly, I just want to talk a little bit about what data science is for a number of us that don't know what data science is. So what is data science? Data science is multidisciplinary. It has a lot to do with artificial intelligence, machine learning, pattern recognition, statistics visualization, a lot of things. But in order not to freak you out with this diagram, data science is simply making sense out of data. Now, this is what it means. It means we have data. As a matter of fact, IBM again said that the amount of data that we have presently for 50 years in the world today is so much more than the amount of data that has been gathered for about 3 centuries before this 50 years. So every day we have data that is being churned out with the prevalence of IT and software engineering and a lot of information technology. We have so much data today, and it is so valuable. So we need the heart of data science, or let me call it the profession of data science, to help make sense out of the data that we have today, because data is very valuable. And why is, if you Google search data science, you're going to see that data science is the hottest skill in, if not in Africa, because usually we are always latecomers to revolutions that take place. But in America today, data science is the hottest skill in America today. According to a research by McKinsey predicted that by 2020, there's going to be a need for about 1.4 million, there's going to be 1.4 million jobs that will be available for data-related skills in America alone by 2020. Now that's huge. So why is it that one occupation needs about 1.4 million people in America alone? Why is that so? I want to give you the reasons why it is so. The reason is because we're in the fourth industrial revolution. Now, for those of us that don't know, how many of us don't know what fourth industrial revolution is all about? Can I have a show of hands? Okay, we know many. Now, fourth industrial revolution is just the world, the revolution of artificial intelligence, and there's a lot of agitation about whether AI and robots are going to take over our jobs today. But let's not worry about that. Even if AI is going to take some jobs, AI is going to create a whole lot of jobs, one of which is data science. So the world of artificial intelligence, the fourth industrial revolution is simply that revolution where artificial intelligence and machine learning and robots are going to, be prevalent to solve some of the issues and some of the problems that humans have to make life better for us. Now, you'd agree with me that in the first and second and third industrial revolution, Africa contributed little or nothing to these revolutions. All we did was to consume the product of the innovations that took place during those revolutions. We really didn't contribute much. The first industrial revolution was about steam. What innovation came out of Africa to that? Does anyone have any idea? There was nothing that came out. Second industrial revolution was about industrialization. We didn't do much with that. Third industrial revolution, well, we tried, which is the world of information technology. We had good software developers. We had good, at least we were able to do something as Africans to the third industrial revolution. And the thing is even that during the third industrial revolution, we were latecomers. We really didn't start we didn't start to be a part of that revolution early enough. We didn't really start early enough. It was about 20 years ago that Africa started, being a part of the third industrial revolution. Now, the fourth industrial revolution is here now. And it is time for Africa to be a part of it actively now that it is just existing, now that it is just coming up. Because if we wait for, like we always did during the past industrial revolutions, if we wait for the developed countries to build innovations and technologies and we are not a part of it, all we are going to be doing is just to be a consumer. All we will just do is just to consume, and that won't help our economy as Africans. So we need to just start now that the innovation and the revolution is novel. We need to start to be a part of it. And I hope that at the end of this talk, I'm going to give you ways by which Africa can be a part of the revolution that is taking place. Another reason why data science and data-related technologies, and data jobs are in high demand today is because data is the new oil. I'm sure a lot of us have heard that. How many of us have heard that data is the new oil? How many of us have heard? Are you kidding me? So, really? So those, for those of us that didn't raise our hands, so this is the first time you are hearing that data is the new oil cliche. Really? Wow. Okay, so let me just give a little bit of explanation about that. I mentioned earlier that the amount of data that is being churned out, that's been churned out for the past 50 years, is so much more than the amount of data that has been churned out in the last 3 centuries. With our mobile technology, we churn out data. With name it, most of the things that we use these days, we get data from it. So because of that, people have been able to say that, or let me say, technologists have been able to say that data is going to be the new oil. You'd agree with me that crude oil, when it was discovered, it really made money for a lot of people who were a part of it. So data is that new oil that is going to make money for a lot of people if we get the right skills and we are able to make sense of that data. For those of us that we be a part of this revolution of data, if we can develop ourselves enough to be able to refine and analyze data and make sense of it, we will be enriched by it. So that's why they always say data is the new oil, because they have projected that it's going to give a lot of income and a lot of revenue if it is utilized very well. So let me just take you down the memory lane a little bit about when oil was discovered in Nigeria. You'd agree with me that when oil was discovered in Nigeria, we didn't build our refineries in Nigeria. What did we do? We took the we took the oil that we had, and we exported it to the developed countries that had the technology to refine it, and then we imported our oil. We imported the refined oil, and then we brought it to Nigeria for consumption. If we are not wise enough as Africans and as Nigerians, we are going to do the same thing with data. What do I mean by this? We are going to take our data that we have, we are going to take it to the experts that we think, to the people that we think are experts in the developed world, to help us refine it. It is pretty not responsible, or what am I going? It's not logical for us to do that. And if we don't take the necessary actions and build the necessary skills, we might end up doing that. And that is why I'm giving this talk, so that we will really know that we need to be a part of this revolution of data, a part of this revolution of artificial intelligence. We need to build the necessary skills so that we can build our refineries here in Africa, here in Nigeria. When I say refineries, I mean data refineries, so that we won't have to start taking our data like we took our oil. We won't have to start taking it to the developed countries, because we have what it takes to analyze data, to refine data, to make sense of it, and to get a lot of income from it. Now, I want to give you some analytics by that IBM made. They said that I'm seeing 10 minutes remaining. Okay, fine, thank you. IBM said that that there are 3 things that are going to drive innovation in the 4th industrial revolution, which are people, technology, and data. Good enough for us in Africa, we have 2 of these things. We have people and we have data. According to World Economic Forum, the Sub-Saharan Africa is the youngest region in the world. That means the Sub-Saharan Africa has the highest number of young people. So we have people to help us. If we can develop the right skills, if we can build the right skill set in people, we will be able to be a part of the revolution. We will be able to contribute something in this 4th industrial revolution, because it is high time that Africa started to be a part of revolutions, and it's high time we just stopped being consumers. We need to start innovating. We need to start inventing things that is going to be world-changing. So let me just quickly run through what I have. Having said that, I'm going to give you some of the projects that are using data and data science to solve big problems in Africa today. The first one I'm going to talk about is, sorry, my slide is, okay, good. Budget. How many of us know budget? Okay, a good number of us know what budget is doing. What budget is simply doing is they're simply reducing corruption by simplifying budget and public spending data with the aim of promoting transparency and accountability through data visualization. And that's a lot of English, but let me quickly just summarize what budget does. They get the data that is available from public spending and from the government. They get it and they analyze it and visualize it in a way that a layman is going to understand. Now, what is that going to do? It's going to cause active citizen engagement for people, for Africans, because one of the things that Africa has lacked over the years is ignorance. We don't know how the government is spending our money, or for those of us that, just a very few people know how the budget is being spent, how things are happening with the government. But budget has, used technology and data visualization to make this information available so that citizens can know what is going on and hold their leaders accountable. How is that going to reduce corruption? It's going to reduce corruption to a very large extent. Now, let me give an example of when our brother Dasuki, when he got a lot of money, what is that word again? When people, give me the word, please. No, not whistle. When you take too much money. Good, bless you. When our brother Dasuki embezzled money, it was because people like civic organizations like Budget brought out the analysis of the intensity of the embezzlement, that people were not like, really? So one person can get this money in Nigeria where people are suffering. So people started talking, and it was because of that we could get a little from some of the things that he embezzled. And you're going to remember our sister. What was that? Good. Our sister Desiani. It was because of things like that. It was because corporations like Budget used data visualization that this corruption was discovered, and there was active citizen engagement, and people started talking, and they were able to get things from her. So if we continue with that, if we replicate that kind of project or this kind of project like Budget by using data visualization to get how the government is spending money, it is going to reduce corruption to a reasonable extent in Africa today. Another project I want to talk about is Kudu. Now, Kudu is a project in Uganda that is using mobile data technology to reduce food wastage. UMATI project uses NLP and data to track hate speeches during elections and block them from going viral on social media, so that it's not going to cause violence after the election. I don't want to explain much about that. There was a lot of things that happened with this. There was a lot of success rate that was recorded with this project, but because of my time, I won't be able to go into that so much. So I've talked a lot. Who all this talk help? Why am I saying this? The reason why I gave all of these talks, and the reason why I gave examples of projects that have used data to solve some problems that we have in Africa, is so that we can know and we can understand that data has the power, or data skills have the power to solve some problems that we face in Africa today. And we need to start developing these skills so that when African government realizes or wakes up to the fact that the data we have in Africa can help us solve some problems, they will not be taking the oil. When I say oil here, I mean data. They won't be taking it to the developed countries for refining and for analysis. So if we can start as individuals to start building these skills, we will be prepared well enough. So we'll be prepared well enough, and we'll be able to seize the opportunity when the opportunity comes. Because people like Ms. Folorunsho Alakija, they were the ones that seized the opportunity of oil when it came in Nigeria. So if we can develop ourselves very well with data, we can be the next Folorunsho Alakija. So let me just close with this. Data is the new oil. Africa must therefore build a data refinery in Africa this time. Thank you for listening.